After close to 2 years of early access waiting time, Rogue Legacy 2 finally has been released, and it's as good as you can imagine. Now, if you don't know, the original Rogue Legacy was initially released June 27th of 2013 and had an 18-month development cycle that costed the indie devs over at Cellador Games almost $15,000 out of their own pocket. But luckily, they made it all back within an hour of the game being initially released, and then having the game sell over 100,000 copies within a week. Why am I telling you this? Well, because Rogue Legacy clearly is a good game. It has positive reviews all over the place, and for me personally, I've never played it. I know. What do I know? Well, I've seen the game and read a bit about it, but Rogue Legacy 2 caught my eye for the small roguelike aspects, the Metroidvania-esque map style and movement, and the simple graphics, platforming, and the difficult enemies. Now, before I jump into why you should get Rogue Legacy 2 and tell you about the game, allow me to tell you about the team Cellador Games, the creators of this little gem. It's a relatively small team of 13 people, and the studio was founded in 2009, and they're located in Toronto, Ontario. Before they made Rogue Legacy, they've made a lot of Flash games and even a few iPod Touch games. The Flash games, they're interesting to say. They have one called Don't Shit Your Pants, where you control this random dude with text commands, and based off the title, I can assume you know the premise of the game. Besides for all the Flash games, they've only had 3 games fully released on multiple platforms with PCs and consoles, and that's Rogue Legacy, Full Metal Furies, and of course the most recent Rogue Legacy 2. They had another game called Band of Bears, which was a top 20 finalist in Microsoft's Dream Build Play 2009 competition, and it was going to release on Xbox 360 and PC, but it never did. And it's safe to say this team has struck gold with Rogue Legacy. Okay, I quickly told you about what the team was, and now let me talk to you about the game. It was first put into early access on August 18th, 2020, and fully released April 28th, 2022 for about $25 on Steam, Epic Games, and Xbox. Sorry, PlayStation and Nintendo fans, you gotta wait a little bit longer for this one. The game starts off with you picking between 3 heirs to your throne and then going to invade the Kingdom of the Estuaries, I can't say that word, which are the bosses. Now, me personally, I still haven't fully finished the game, but I'm getting pretty close. When picking between your 3 heirs, each one has a different mana ability or a different weapon and main attack depending on their class. Along with that, each heir could have different traits which could negatively or positively affect the run, or change literally nothing besides your character farting a lot. I will say these developers have a good sense of humor. Okay. In terms of gameplay, you go through a procedurally generated map with procedurally generated rooms as you fight enemies, solve some puzzles, and just try not to die. The map reminds me of a Metroidvania with the way it's set up and how you can stumble upon an area that you clearly aren't meant to be in until you've progressed further in the game. Your main goal is to open the golden doors that you see at the start of a run, but you can't until you beat all the bosses in the way. While getting to the bosses, you unlock new permanent power-ups like double jumps or void dashing. That's basically what the game is. Not a lot of gameplay, just what it is. And now, since it's a roguelike game, you'll be dying a lot, and that'll help you with a lot of progress. The most progress you get in the game is after every run, you see how much gold you have, and you can use the gold to upgrade your castle. And as you upgrade more things, the castle gets bigger. The game has a lot of upgrades, which can include giving you more damage, more health, unlocking new characters, having more rune space, more resolve, getting more gold with your traits, really anything you can think of. One really fun and unique thing I feel about this game is that as you upgrade the castle more, it eventually has labor costs, which will make everything get more expensive with every upgrade you have, making gold much more valuable. Okay, that's like the roguelike aspect. And now you heard me talk about resolve and runes and weight and the upgrades, and what the heck are those? I'll explain what those are, but before we fully get into the currency, I should say that in the middle of your runs, you can find blueprints for weapons and armors, and you can also find runes which give you buffs for a run. Runes and blueprints can be bought both with different currencies along with gold. The blueprints can be bought with these silver bars, while the runes can be bought with blood. You don't lose your blood or silver bars before your next run if you don't spend them like you do with your gold. So you buy blueprints with silver bars, and all the equipment can give you small buffs in different areas. But you need to be careful about your resolve and your weight. Your character can have a resolve higher than 100%, but equipping armor will lower the resolve, and if it goes under 100%, you lose some of your max HP. And while I'm talking about resolve, I want to quickly talk about relics, which are another thing you can find in the middle of a run, or they can sometimes spawn on one of your heirs. Relics are a buff for the run that also cost resolve like blueprints. If a relic costs more resolve, that means it's probably better. Okay, so if juggling all the blueprint armor and potential relic buffs, you need to keep your eye on the resolve. Lower than 100% is bad. That's all you gotta remember. The game has a lot of blueprints for a lot of different armor, and you can even upgrade them, so there's a lot to keep your eye on. Okay, but what about the runes? Runes are also buffs for a run that give you small things like getting health back when you kill an enemy. They have their own weight class, and each rune weighs a different amount. You can upgrade your weight capacity for runes as well, so you can always carry more. That's pretty simple. Runes are much more simpler, I feel. You see, that wasn't that bad. That's the currencies and resolve and really everything you need to know about the game before getting into it. But how's the gameplay? Is it easily replayable? Well, it's a roguelite, so the answer to that second question is yes. It's very easy to get into. Early on, the game is really hard with your lack of upgrades and lack of abilities. The enemies will destroy you, and the first boss could give you a lot of trouble. You'll learn so many secrets and unlock so many characters that it's super easy to get lost in this game for hours on end. The game has 15 different classes, all with different weapons and abilities. On top of the many relics and many mana-related attacks, just gives you so many different ways to find your style of play. And every class can level up, gaining their own buffs the more you play with them. The combat feels so good along with the simple platforming, and every boss fight I've personally done has really made sure I know how to play the game and use the abilities to my advantage. I personally haven't beat the game myself, like I said, but I can see myself easily getting lost in the game for so many hours, trying to unlock as many different endings as I can and trying everything possible. The game has hundreds of hours worth of content if you're a completionist, and if you're not a completionist and just enjoy the roguelike and roguelike genre, then this game still has so much to offer you. If you don't know much about the genre or really just like a game with hard fighting and good platforming, you should still pick it up. Support your indie devs. I'm a very firm believer that roguelike genres can get you the best bang for your buck. The amount of hours you can sink in and just lose yourself to the game for how much the game costs, it's always magical. There's so many amazing games of this genre to try, and Rogue Legacy 2 is another one to put on your list. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, also, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to sub. I make videos whenever I can and stream most of the games I talk about on Twitch. Alright, bye!